This is a continuous coverage on WION World is One. We are glad you're watching. Democrats are seeking to limit U.S. President Donald Trump's powers amid the ongoing Israel-Iran war. Virginia Senator Tim Kaine has introduced a bill to restrict President Donald Trump's ability to launch military strikes against Iran. Kaine said Americans do not want another forever war. The bill cites the War Powers Resolution of 1973. This law, passed during the Vietnam War, limits the president's authority to engage in hostilities without Congress. Trump would still be allowed to order military action in self-defense if an attack is imminent. However, the bill will block him from launching preemptive or offensive strikes without congressional consent. To become law, the bill must pass both the Senate and the House of Representatives. It would then require Trump's signature, which he is expected to withhold. Congress can override a presidential veto with two-thirds majorities in both chambers. During his first term, Trump vetoed two war powers resolutions. One of them, led by Kaine in 2020, also aimed to limit his authority to strike Iran. Meanwhile, House Speaker Mike Johnson has reportedly postponed a planned trip to Israel amid the ongoing tensions. He had previously announced plans to address the Israeli parliament. In a statement, Johnson says he hopes to reschedule the address in the near future. So there is a bill that has been presented in the House. It's awaiting a vote by both the Senate and the House of Representatives, which gives the president the powers to either okay or veto any aggression against the United States. And that means that the military in the United States, or any decision that Trump makes as president, has to pass through the Congress before it becomes law or before it becomes officiated. Let's talk to our correspondent Susan Teherani, who's now joining us live from New York. Susan Teherani, probably you can tell us about this bill, what it entails, and how long will it take for both the Senate and the House of Representatives to pass it? And also, tell me about Mike Johnson and his trip to Israel.
Yeah, so it's important to note that under the U.S. Constitution, only Congress can authorize going to war. However, the president does have some exceptions, and from President Bush to Obama to President Trump during his first term, they sort of have found loopholes to bypass Congress. But under the current U.S. system, regardless, the United States the commander-in-chief has to go to Congress and officially ask that its troops are sent to war. This is under the War Resolution of 1973. That being said, if American troops and the United States national interest are in direct danger, then the president, of course, as commander-in-chief, has his own rights to move forward. And that's possibly why this is, coming in as a resolution, just because they want to make sure that Congress is involved. Now, it's very unlikely that the Senate would side with Democrats and take away President Trump's powers at this time, considering the balance of power on Capitol Hill. But what it would do, it would cause a very vibrant debate, because both aisles, Democrats and Republicans, many of them on Capitol Hill and on Main Street, Americans, they have no appetite for prolonged U.S. wars. They don't want boots on the ground in the Middle East. They definitely don't want to get involved in the so-called forever wars. So this will sort of pave the way for that, and it'll be interesting to see how it goes, despite that balance of power. Mike Johnson, yes, he was expected to address the Knesset. That trip is being postponed for obvious reasons right now. But, it was anticipated, considering the situation that Israel and Iran are in right now, and sort of this balancing act that President Trump is also playing. On the one hand, saying Iran should come to the negotiating table. There is still an opportunity for them to negotiate. But on the other hand, backing Israel in its defense as well. It would be sort of, the messaging would probably be a little confusing, more confusing, I should say, if Mike Johnson ended up in Israel.
Well, Susan, we are getting reports, or I'm getting reports here, that the USS Nimitz, a U.S. Navy aircraft carrier, is leaving the South China Sea and is now heading towards the Middle East. Do we have any information about this latest information that we are receiving in our newsroom at this hour?
Yeah, that was anticipated too, Eric. As you well know, we did see a huge migration from America's west coast of fueling and aircrafts carriers going towards Europe. This is in line with that. The White House and the Pentagon say that this is so President Trump could have options if push comes to shove in the region, and he needs to possibly step in or also perhaps help Israel more extensively. These are all geared towards that war between Israel and Iran. And although they do seem a bit tight-lipped about what their exact plans are, but it seems the writing is on the wall. It is to give President Trump options should the United States have to perhaps get involved, or U.S. troops are attacked in any way by one of Iran's proxies, or Israel needs more defensive capabilities inside Iran or even in Israel.
All right. Susan Teherani is our correspondent in New York. Susan, we'll have to leave it there. Good to see you. Thank you.
Good to see you too, Eric. Thank you.